Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, like I said, I was going to do yesterday. I am streaming earlier than usual today because there's some sports that I want to watch later tonight, so I'm not going to be able to stream tonight, but I figured I would go ahead and do at least a little bit of a stream now. So let's go ahead and do some Chaos Head, Noah. And let's see, where were we with this one? So the last time I streamed this, I think we're still in Chapter 5, but the fifth NewGen murder occurred, and Dr. Takashima, I think is his name, was the victim. This is the doctor that Takumi used to visit several years in the past. He was actually going back to the hospital. And I think he actually got matched up with Takashima again, but he didn't really get to go in depth on kind of the stuff that's troubling him. So he kind of just got passed off to the nurse who did this like sleep, well, not really a sleep study, but she had him nap for like 3 hours to see if he would sleepwalk, which he didn't. But then when he came back to the hospital again like a week later, Takashima was out. I think it's possible that he had already been murdered at that point, because they said they didn't discover his body until like well after he had already been killed. So, and then like Rimi has been kind of hanging around Takumi a lot more, because Takumi kind of asked her, maybe kind of in an indirect way, to have her around more, and she agreed to do that. So they're like walking to and from school together now and stuff. The thing is, though, when he reaches the school with her, he quickly like separates. Yes, I am live. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm doing an earlier stream today because I'm going to be watching some sports tonight, so I won't be able to stream tonight, but anyway, yeah, whenever Takumi reaches the school, he like hides in the bathroom because he doesn't want people to see him hanging out with Rimi. So, yeah. I think that's about it. I think there was anything else, was there? So, that's where I left off. He walked to school with Rimi and he hid in the bathroom, so now he's leaving the bathroom. I left the bathroom, trying my best to act natural, and kept my head down as I walked on the side of the hallway toward my classroom. Before I got there, though, I could see Ayase walking toward me. Our eyes met and her lips curved into a slight smile. I think that's the first time we've ever seen her smile. Ayase was famous. I didn't want to risk attention by talking to her, but she stood in front of me, blocking my path. I didn't have a choice.
Takumi, あれから警察はどう?
I put a hand over my mouth to stop myself from screaming. Wait, how'd it go with the police? Oh, I get... does she mean like... I don't know. You've missed a lot? Well... Basically, just the murders are continuing. The latest victim was his doctor. Remember, he was trying to visit his old doctor that he used to see like several years ago. So apparently he got murdered, and then they didn't discover his body until way after. He get chummy with more girls. He's getting chummier with Rimi. Like Rimi's hanging out with him a lot more now. Now he hasn't been back to the shop again. He's still trying to do more. He's still trying to find out more about the D-Sword. But he hasn't really gotten anywhere with that yet. So, why would you talk about something like that with all these people around? The girl who carried him home? Wait, did Rimi carry him? I guess. I think that's who you're talking about. I quickly looked around. This was incredibly bad. Ayase was a local celebrity. It was rare enough for her to come to school, but not only that, she was the vocalist of the famous band Phantasm, and pretty to boot. Carried him... Wait, you're not talking about Yua, are you? Because that was like way back. That was like a long time ago now. If that's the last thing you saw, then you're way behind. I don't know if you're talking about that or if you're talking about Rimi. Are you talking about when he like ran into a bike or something and like hurt his leg, and then that Yua girl had to... She followed him into the cafe. Okay, now that's... Yeah, you're talking about Yua. That's from like 4 chapters ago. Well, shit, dude. If you're that far behind, then... I don't know. Like... Okay, well, I guess kind of to catch you up, basically, like, so, yeah, that's Yua, yeah. No, so, basically since then, like, Takumi's starting to think that, like, there's more direct evidence in the latest murders that he's the whoever the killer is trying to taunt him or something to that effect. And he obviously he's gotten more and more scared, so he's asked Rimi, who is the formerly who used to call the demon girl, the girl that was at that one murder scene. Apparently he's kind of accepted this idea that Rimi has been his friend for a while, but he doesn't have any memories of their friendship. So he kind of asked Rimi to, like, be by his side more because he's like so scared. Although he hasn't really explained to her exactly what's going on yet, which is kind of weird, but she seems to, I mean, she at least knows that he's like really freaked out about something. And then also this girl right here on the screen, she kind of told him about how to get a D sword, but it's kind of like it's almost like Morpheus in the Matrix, because she was kind of like, it's kind of the whole I can only show you the door, you're the one who has to walk through it kind of thing. So he still has to actually figure out how to get one. But basically, she kind of showed him what she does to get her D sword, which is she kind of reaches into like a whole other realm or whatever. And then he's also met this other girl named Sena a couple times, who has also kind of pointed him to some patents for these devices that allow like electrical signals that can be like transmitted to and from the brain. So he thinks that like it's possible for someone to like manipulate what somebody perceives as reality through these devices. So yeah. I mean, that's about the gist of it. Those are the kind of the big things, I guess. You know, I wonder though, like, do the people at the school even know that she is Fess, the girl in Phantasm? Like, it doesn't seem like anybody it acts like they know who she is, so I don't know. Everyone, boys and girls both, were interested in her. Bro, it says that, but like every time he's seen her at school, she's never been like with anybody. Like, you would think if that were the case, like she'd be like talking to someone all the time, or she'd have her like circle of friends or whatever, but I don't know. That science Quran meme, but for gang stalking. An 08 VN? Well, this is an 08 VN. This I think Chaos Head first came out in like 2008. So normally there'd be no way she'd ever talk to a loser like me. The gazes of the people around me were causing me physical pain. I wanted to run away.
剣を探して。君はそうしなくちゃいけないのよ。
She always said the same thing whenever we met. There was a chance ISA was on my side, but having her say the same damn thing every time was getting on my nerves. I wanted to find it too, I just didn't know how.
ヒントが欲しい。 君はどうやってあれを手に入れた？
いつの間にかそこにあった。
Oh man, that's really helpful. That again? Was she just screwing with me?
気づかなかったわ、最初は。
I know, dude. He always talks like that. He talks like a I know, dude. The way he talks is rather annoying. I agree.
でもちょっとだけ見方を変えたら分かった。
Hunchback pervy vibes. I don't know if it's so much pervy. I think it's just he always talks like he's not sure of what he's saying. You know what I mean? Like he always stutters and shit. So it's almost like he's kind of hesitant to ever say what he's saying. So he always gives off this vibe that he doesn't know what he's really talking about.
もしかしたら匠にももう見えているのかも。見ていないだけで。
Maybe you can already see it, you just don't. What the hell did that mean? Talking to Ayase was always exhausting. It was like some weird Zen koan thing.
剣はちゃんと探してるよ。僕だって絶対手に入れたいから。
I sighed as I answered, and then the gazes of the people around me grew too much to bear. I ran past Ayase and into the classroom. What I found there only made me feel worse. Misumi and some of the other boys were staring at me in shock. Crap. They'd seen me talking to Ayase. This was bad. I didn't know what they were going to say. If I was lucky, they might just make fun of me. But there was also the chance they might do something a lot worse. I looked down and headed to my seat, trying to make myself as small as possible. Please, just let everyone leave me alone.
Oi, oi, oi!
My prayer went unheard.
タク、てめえいつの間に？今、岸本と話してたよな。
The most I could do was shut up. I couldn't look up.
岸本が誰かとまともに会話してるとこ、初めて見たぜ。一体どんな手使ったんだよ。
What was I just saying? Like, he claims that Ayase is really popular, and yet, like, nobody ever sees anybody actually try to talk to her. Like, how can you be popular and yet nobody talks to you? I mean, I guess you could be like, I don't know. I guess you could be like popular, but everybody only talks to you, like talks about you, like behind your back or something. But that's not the way you want to be popular. Please don't talk so loudly that the rest of the class can hear. Please just leave me alone. I'm not going to try and date Ayase or anything. You gotta be in a higher stratification to touch this. Well, yeah, but dude, like, if like somebody who was like popular in pop culture like went to your school, like all sorts of people would be like trying to talk to them. They wouldn't just be like, oh no, she's like, he or she is so famous that like I'm just not even gonna try to talk to them. It's not like I'd have a chance anyway. So please, just calm down.
なあタク、教えろって。
大地
Uh-oh. Even Rimi's getting in on this shit. Rimi interrupted.
落ち着け。タクが困ってるでしょ。
Oh, okay, she's on his side. I thought she was gonna be like I thought she was gonna be like, yeah, Takumi, what the hell are you doing? Why is he just trying to mind speak? Because this is how like shy and introverted people are. They just try to like hold the silence as long as possible, hoping that the other person will just kind of give up and go about their way or whatever. What, Rimi is Miyuki's girlfriend? Nah, dude. I mean, they're friends, but she's not his girlfriend.
ああ、悪い悪い。
I mean, shit, if anything, I would say Rimi is more into Takumi than she is into Misumi here. Misumi dropped his voice low and patted me on the back. I sighed a little without looking up. Rimi had saved me again.
で、実際のところどうやったんだ。
That's a long story, dude. Misumi was, as always, a man who thought only with his little head. You mean he thinks with his dick? I think that would be more accurate.
もう大地ってほんと節操ないよね。そのうち彼女さんに刺されるんじゃない？
Yeah, see, he already has another girlfriend. But, like, it almost doesn't even matter. He still acts like he would if he was single. The earring? Oh yeah, he has a little earring.
心配すんなって。俺こう見えても各種ケアは欠かさねえから。
何それ？
なあタク、教えろよ。岸本とはどんな感じなんだ。
Misumi was rubbing my shoulders. He wouldn't let the subject drop. I looked up, afraid. Half the boys in the class were whispering to each other and glancing at me. How long can you say nothing? I know. This was bad. They were still looking at me. Don't look at me. I felt the prickling at the back of my neck. If the DQNs came after me, I was finished. My life would become a hell of bullying. What should I do? Run? Cut class and go home? But I couldn't go home alone. The thought of running into Shogun or Yua was too much for me. Have Rimi come home with me? She'd said she was the caring and devoted type. If she wasn't lying, she'd skip school alongside me. I just needed to get out of here as soon as possible. Do they have school psychologists in Japan? That's a good question. I don't know if they're full-blown psychologists, but from what I've seen in like anime and visual novels and shit, like the counselors and shit that they have in school, seem to be like way more well versed in like psychology than like counselors here. But I don't know if they're necessarily like full-blown psychologists. Suddenly, there was a loud noise at the entrance. Everyone turned to look at it. Oh, shit, I almost forgot about this girl. What was her deal again? Oh, yeah, she's the transfer student, that's right. She hasn't had a big role in this yet. It was the transfer student. She was rubbing her tear-stained eyes and bowing in apology to everyone she could see. As always, she was completely silent. The entire classroom also fell silent at this sudden development. Oh yeah? Well, I don't know. Maybe... I don't know if schools here are maybe kind of adopting that now. I can tell you right now, when I went to school, there was no fucking psychologist or anything like that. I mean, we had counselors, but they weren't really like, you know. And I never went to school counselors. It just was not a thing for me. What had just happened?
今の見たか
5150? I don't know what that is. What is 5150?
見た。一人で勝手に扉に激突してたね。
やっぱ梢ちゃんは可愛いな。
A psych hold? Huh.
No.
I'd never seen somebody so klutzy outside of an anime.
また泣いた。大丈夫かな。すごい音してたけど。
Rimi whispered, worried, and then headed to the transfer student faster than anybody else. She was pretty nosy from the look of it, or maybe kind was a better word.
うお、リミに先越された。待て待て、梢ちゃんを解放するのは俺だ。
Misumi shouted as he raced after her. Remember when I was talking about a guy who got psych-holded? Like, a while back? No, I don't remember. Kozue's accident was, for me, good luck. Oh, your favorite I almost said VTuber. Well, I think you said, trying to remember now what you said happened to him. All the boys who'd been staring at me were now looking at her. GJ, transfer student. Or good job, I guess. He threatened to kill kids? Really? But I happened to hear what some of the girls near me were saying.
うざ。
何あれ。
狙ってやってんじゃん。
Just a few faint whispers.
視界にはデッドスポットと呼ばれる通常は使用されることのないいくつかの神経チャネルが存在することをご存知ですか？
So this is, I guess this is kind of like the Saley of, or whatever, that organization in the Evangelion anime. That's what that's what this shit is right here.
それが第二世代と何か関係があるのかね？
そういうことになります。簡単な実験をしてみましょう。これをご覧ください。
子供騙しを聞いている暇はないぞ。
重要なことですよ。この図には左側にドット、右側にリングがあります。では、左目を手で覆って見えないようにしてください。そのまま右目だけで図の左側にあるドットを見つめてください。いかがですか？ドットを見つめる目の端の方にリングも存在しますか？
Yes, I can see the ring.
いくらドットだけを見つめていても、隣にあるリングがついでに見えているのは当然だと思うがな。
Although it's kind of faint. Sometimes it looks like it kind of disappears from your
では先生、
vision, but
ドットだけを見つめたままモニターに顔を近づけていってみてください。
ほう、これは。
oh come on, how do you not know about this shit? Like pretty much every adult like knows about this.
興味深いね。
右側のリングが消えた。そうですね。これは視界が狭まったからではありません。その証拠に、さらにモニターに近づくことで、リングはまた視界に現れます。
これは一体どんなトリックだ？
It's not working. Yeah, it's like, here if I do it, like... Well, no, actually for me, like when I'm moving closer and away from it, it makes it more visible actually. Yeah, it's probably not like...
いいえ、トリックの類ではありません。普段は使用されていないですが、人間が元から持っている目の機能の一つですよ。これはデッドスポットと呼ばれ、
I mean, shit, I remember being in 4th grade and observing this effect because I was like staring down at the floor and there was like a pencil and I noticed that it like disappeared from my vision if I stared at the floor a certain way. Yeah.
ノアによって人間の視界の中に無から有を作り出す際に使用するチャネルなのです。
Wow, that was enlightening. Classes had ended and I was standing by the school entrance. Twilight was spreading over the sky. Several crows were silently flying past me, flapping their wings as they receded into the distance. I was waiting for Rimi. She was on cleaning duty today. You inhaled pomegranate juice? She hadn't promised to walk home with me today, but I was sure she would. I'd been standing here for over 15 minutes waiting for her. Oh, hey there, Fisvigo 89 G. Yep. Yeah, I've been wanting to play this for quite a while, like actually probably several years really. But they hadn't officially localized it until like like a year ago or something. Before that, you had to use some like fan patch translation, and I don't like using like fan translations because usually they're pretty shoddy in quality. So I decided to just wait until there was an official localization. I wasn't sure what would happen tomorrow, but I'd made it through today. Misumi had been so desperate to talk to the transfer student that he'd forgotten to ask me any more questions about ISA. Thank you so much, transfer student. I'll save it here. Hard time getting to action anime. Yeah, I'm not really that much into the action genre, honestly. Speak of the devil, she'd just come walking by. She bowed at me, looking like she was about to cry. I bowed back, awkwardly. And then I watched her slowly walk toward the school gate. I realized again just how small she was. She had the body of a lolly, and she was a klutz, too. I wasn't sure about her personality, but it was probably very sweet. Yeah, I watched a few anime. Like, I watched Summertime Rendering. I watched second season of Rent a Girlfriend. Second season of Uzaki-chan. Love Live. Nijigasaki. And, am I forgetting? Well, I guess Attack on Titan, although really it was just the final chapters. Is that it? I think that's about it. She ticked all the moe checkboxes. But the other girls didn't like her, supposedly. I guess there's a difference between 2D and 3D. YouTube doesn't want you watching this live. Oh, it keeps lagging? Oh. I don't know. It's not lagging on my side, so... She ran back toward me. Oh. A 1060? You mean an RTX 10, like the graphics card? She looked at me with a grin. I quickly turned my head away. Thanks to the setting sun, she probably didn't realize how red my face was. It was less that I wanted to go home with her and more that I was too scared to go home by myself. Really? You got a graphics card at a thrift shop? Damn, I guess you could find anything there, huh? Interesting. I'll tell you what, a 1060 for $10 is not a bad deal. I myself have a 3090, so obviously I'm way beyond 1060s, but... Even while I'd been waiting, I'd been terrified that Yua might be lurking behind a corner. Rimi knew that, but she decided to be mean and ask anyway.
ああ、嘘でもいいからそうだって言ってほしかったな。ねえ、私さ。
Rimi suddenly looked off into the distance. Her eyes sparkled red in the light of the setting sun. When the stream lags a bit, you can double speed. Yeah, I guess.
タクの力になれて結構嬉しいよ。
ありがとう。
Yeah, that makes sense. The words were out of my mouth before I even knew I'd said them. Yeah, no. Even when you catch up to live, it just keeps going in double speed because it's going into the future. That would be pretty freaky. I really was grateful. Rimi was now somebody I couldn't live without. Until I found the D sword. Excuse me. She was all I had.
どういたしまして。
Rimi smiled happily and led me on. Bro, what? I just got a weird fucking idea. What if, like, I just suddenly started speaking, like, really fast, like double talk? Like double speed, and, like, you, like, had no idea that it actually went back to normal speed? You thought it was still in double speed? Oh, yeah, that is true. It might just buffer and then it would continue in like double speed, but it would keep buffering over and over.
さあ、帰ろう。
My school, Suime Academy, was in the luxury residential district of Shoto. All the houses in the area were expensive and gave off a sense that the people who lived there were important. But even though it was just a few minutes away from the heart of Shibuya, there weren't many people out. It felt kind of lonely.
タクって意外とモテるよね。
Well, I guess he is now. It's a nice tech tip, though, because it doesn't like to let you normally get Really live? I don't have any problem with like watching people watching live streams, but whatever. She'd startled me so much I was gasping for air. What the heck was she talking about?
あれ自覚ない？
I wouldn't know. Oh, is it just because you have like a poor internet connection or something? She smiled and pointed her finger at my nose. You aren't supposed to point at people, you know?
だってこの前はメガネかけた3年生の綺麗な人と一緒だったし。
あれは。
うん、昨日聞いた。タクに意地悪する人だよね。
YouTube lies. Well, yeah, that's too bad. Although I think part of it too is just like when I stream with OBS Streamlabs, there's like a pretty heavy lag that it just automatically puts on the stream. So like even if you're like if you have like the best internet connection in the world, like you're still going to be probably like, I don't know, 8 or 10 seconds behind what's actually going on here. So
で、今日はあのフェスと話してた。あと折原さん、転校してきた朝に真っ先にタクに声をかけてたよね。さらに今こうして私と一緒に帰ってる。ほら、モテモテだ。
this was something I'd been thinking about lately too. Am I about to get a girlfriend? Is this a new amazing chapter in my love life? Things like that. A month ago, I never would have thought it was possible. Back then, I'd never even had a chance to talk to any girls, except Nanami. I'd even lied to myself and everybody by saying I wasn't interested in them. How come I'd had so many more chances to talk to girls over the past month? It had all started when Shogun had entered that chat room. So a part of me wondered, was this whole past month just my delusion? Was I just having a long dream? It felt like the things I was experiencing right now might all just vanish tomorrow. Sometimes it seemed that way anyway. Or had the person inside me changed? Maybe the person controlling me before now just loved to play by themselves, and the person controlling me now liked working with other characters? Either way, it was hard to believe that this past month was real. Too much had happened.
っていうか、私今日初めて知ったんだけど、フェスって同じ学校だったんだね。
Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, well, of course, I guess she may have never even, like, crossed her path or whatever.
しかも同学年の隣のクラス。
Rimi's voice took on an excited tone. She must really be a trend follower.
昨日タクから CD 借りたばっかりだからすごくびっくりしちゃった。 それにすごく可愛い子だし。
Rimi came around to my front. Her tone dropped to a low, hesitant one as she spoke, still walking backwards.
何話してたの？
You kind of miss CDs. Well, oh shit. I was talking to someone just the other day about how, like, really the only reason CDs ever even existed was because, like, internet bandwidth just hadn't developed quickly enough to where we could, like, download the digital files. Instead, we had to have them stored onto some kind of, you know, disk or whatever in order to have access to them. Because there was no way, like, back in the early 2000s that you were going to, you know, download a CD's worth of music in a decent amount of time.
今朝フェス岸本さんと。
Alright, this dude is gonna have to break the silence at some point. Like, he can't keep this, like, hidden forever.
聞かせてほしいな。
Like, all this weird shit about, like, other dimensions and, like, brainwave transmitting, all that shit.
私には聞く権利なんてないかもって思うけど、でも岸本さんと話してた時のタク、すごく思い詰めた様子だったから、なんだか心配で。
She'd even seen that, too? Maybe it was safe to tell Rimi everything. There wasn't anybody else I could talk to about it, and I was just getting tired of thinking about things on my own. Well, you could talk about it with your little sister, dude. But he, like, hates his little sister for some fucking reason. I don't know, Takumi's kind of a shithead, but, you know. I wanted somebody else's opinion, and not somebody like Ayase or Sena, who'd just say weird abstract things that didn't make sense. Somebody who could clearly tell me what they thought. But, well, when I'd talked to her yesterday, she hadn't believed a word I'd said.
話してたのは剣のこと。
剣って昨日タクが言ってたやつ？
The sister fister? What? I nodded.
綾瀬は持ってるんだ。
何を？
本物を。
Rimi gasped, or I thought she did. Her eyes went wide, and she seemed to stagger back a few steps.
嘘だ。
She sounded really doubtful.
だってあれおもちゃでしょ？
だから僕のはおもちゃだけど、彼女のは本物で、ライブ行けば見られ。
See, you've missed so much, you don't even know what his sister is like. Yeah, his I don't know, his little sister's kind of just whatever. She likes to check up on Takumi every now and then, swing by his place and, you know, tell him to clean up and all that shit. I stopped in mid-sentence. Could she see it? Ayase had also told me that only people with the right power could see the D swords.
ライブに行けばその本物の剣を見られるの？じゃあ今度行ってみようかな。ファンタズムのライブそのものも見たいし。あ、タク一緒に行く？
見られないかも。限られた人にしか見えないらしいんだ。
あ、そうなんだ。裸の王様みたいなものかな。じゃあ私バカだから見えないかもなんてね。
Oh shit. I wasn't sure if she could see it or not. I didn't know how a real D sword worked anyway. I was just going off what Ayase had said.
そんな剣本当にあるのかな。やっぱり私信じられないよ。タクが見たっていう岸本さんの剣も本物っぽく見えるおもちゃじゃないの？
でも光ったし。
But it glowed!
おもちゃでも光るやつはいくらでもあ
There
る
are
よ。
toys that glow. Damn, dude. He's getting fucked with right now. Well, I couldn't deny that. You could just add some lights and get a glowing effect. But the way Sena and Ayase's swords had felt so real, so powerful, I couldn't believe they were toys. They had an aura about them that a fake toy could never create. And more than that, Ayase had pulled the sword out of thin air. It wasn't super speed or hypnosis or anything fake like that. What I'd seen was a glimpse of an incredible power.
僕には妄想を現実に投影する力があるかも。
I was far from certain myself, but I decided to share with Rimi the possibility that I'd been thinking about.
だから将軍に、狙われてる気がする。
There was no other reason for him to be coming after me, at least. There weren't many people out there as harmless as me. Most otaku are harmless. They're stuck in their own little worlds. She's not on board. Yeah, clear. Yeah, she seems to at least be pretty skeptical, if not just outright thinking that Takumi is spouting nonsense. If they had the time to spend bothering people in the 3D world, they'd rather spend it having fun in their minds with 2D girls.
昨日調べてた特許のこと？タクはあんな装置持ってるの？
I shook my head.
そうじゃなくて、
Donnie Darko. Yeah, I guess it is kind of like that in a way.
装置とかなくても力使えるかも。
たくからかってるんでしょ？あ、わかった。何かの漫画かアニメの元ネタ？
Here, let me turn the light on here. Rimi didn't believe me after all. But I had at least some reason to think it was true. That bus accident when I was in elementary school. I explained that to her, too. I might be a murderer. I worried that telling Rimi might make her want to stay away from me, but I just couldn't keep it in anymore. I needed to share it with someone and get it off my chest. Rimi seemed lost in thought as she listened to me stammer out an explanation. And when I was done...
考えすぎだよ。
She just laughed it away. What's the bus thing? Like, I think it was like near the beginning of the visual novel, he talked about an experience he had where when he was like an elementary school, I think, his class went on a field trip, and he didn't go, and he had like I guess you could call it a premonition or a dream where like an accident happened to the bus while the students were being transported to the field trip, and then it actually ended up happening in real life, and like some I'm trying to remember how many of the kids he said died. But anyway, yeah, some of the people on the bus died, and yeah. And he's been questioning if his dream that he had about it happening actually like caused it to happen in real life. Or if it was just like fated to happen and then he just happened to be able to see it before it happened or whatever.
そう考えてることだってタクの妄想なんだよ。わかってる？
Was I really overthinking it? I hoped so. But the weird feeling in the bottom of my heart just didn't go away. Let's see, how far along are they? The office smelled like dust. Can you control your dreams? Nah, well, I don't know if I would call it control. You don't have like real direct control over it. I've had lucid dreams before where I could kind of, yeah, you don't control everything. I was able to kind of manipulate stuff, like how the dream went. Like there was one where there was like a tornado and I was like caught outside, you know, and so I was like threatened to be hurt or killed by the tornado. And so, but it was a lucid dream. So what I did was I just like closed my eyes in the dream and like tried to think about like, you know, good weather, like no tornadoes. And then like when I opened my eyes again in the dream, like the tornado was gone and like there were clouds in the sky, but it was like not stormy or anything. So yeah, I mean, I've been able to kind of like manipulate stuff in dreams before. You will babes into existence. Kind of. I don't know, honestly. If I'm maybe I'm power leveling a bit here, but I've had dreams where like I didn't, it wasn't like I was quite willing them into existence, but basically I was looking for, I was looking to do stuff with a girl. and basically I would just kind of walk around and just look until I found one that I thought was hot, and then yeah. It's always blue ball, yeah. That's usually how it turns out. Like, even if you actually end up, like, kind of getting to, do something with them, you usually end up waking up before anything, like, real serious happens anyway, so, yeah. But, yeah, and I've had dreams where, like, I remember, like, probably, like, over 10 years ago at this point, but I had kind of, like, a series of dreams where I was, like, testing out, like, being able to fly. Like, have you ever actually, like, levitated or, like, flied in a dream? Actually, I still, even to this day, every once in a while, I'll have a dream where I can actually, like, levitate. But there was a series of dreams I had, like, it's been over 10 years ago now, I think, where I was like, I could, like, just, I mean, I could almost, like, fly around like Superman kind of thing, and, like, and I would even, like, try and, like, push, like, how fast I could fly from one place to another, and, like, and a lot of times I would be like, man, why can't I fly faster than this? Because I, like, I knew I was dreaming, so it was like the rules shouldn't really apply. So why is it I can only fly like maybe 30 or 40 miles an hour at the fastest, Why couldn't I, like, just go, like, just zip somewhere? It was kind of weird. It was on the second floor of an aging mixed-used building. Light poured in from the huge window in the back that covered the whole wall, making the dust in the air look like powder snow. The letters on the window that read Trustworthiness Investigation Company Frisia cast shadows on the desk beneath it. There were 20 desks in all, tightly crammed together. They were all piled high with folders and papers, in a way you might expect to see in a publishing office. Most of the desk's occupants were out, with only 5 or 6 people there. But the reason wasn't because it was a Saturday. There was a schedule on the whiteboard next to the entrance, and it was packed tight with writing. Yasuji Ban opened the agency's door right at the end of lunch break. He'd walked in without knocking, but none of the people there had said a word. He gave them a friendly "hey there" as he headed straight for the desk furthest in the back, where a heavy-set woman was sitting at her laptop.
Oh, Momo-chan, genki?
Okay, she's new. The woman he'd called Momo was Katsuko Momose, the president of Frisia. She had an annoyed look on her face and refused to even look up.
バンちゃん、また来たの？
また来ました。やっと。ニュージェネについての新ネタ、ない？
たく、私は忙しいのよ。抱えてる案件が5万ってあるの。
What do I like most so far about Chaos Head? I'm curious about the whole delusion thing, like how you pick like the green on the left or the red on the right thing. I haven't got to experiment with that much yet, because I decided on the first playthrough I would just mostly just play through it normally without using that. So I'm curious to kind of get to future playthroughs and play around with that more and see kind of how it affects the story and stuff. I don't know. I feel like I mean, it's hard to say because I haven't really gotten very far into the story yet, but it feels to me like there's a lot of potential for this story to incorporate all the different characters in really interesting ways. So I'm curious to see kind of how each of the different characters wind up.
うちみたいな零細企業は土日返上で仕事しなくちゃいけないの。わかる？
Only then did she look up at him. When she saw the grin on his face, she put her hand up to her forehead and shook her head slightly.
ここは警察の秘密組織でも子会社でもないって何度も言ってるでしょうに。ただで情報もらえるなんて虫のいいこと考えてるんだろうけど、ここに来てる暇があるなら自分の足で何とかなさいな公務員さん。または依頼料を払うこと。予約表はみおちゃんにもらってちょうだい。
Damn, what kind of organization is this?
相変わらず冷てえ社長だな、おい。
Momose's attitude seemed to have no effect whatsoever on Bon. He waved his fan indifferently.
この会社立ち上げるときにはあんなに協力してやったのによ。
あら、ワンちゃんも恩着せがましい人だわね。何年同じこと言い続ければ気が済むわけ？
まあ言っててくれ。じゃあ依頼料はこいつでどうかな。
Bon offered her a plastic bag with the logo of a local confectionery shop on it.
なんだ、あるなら最初から出してよ。いつも悪いわね。みおちゃん、お茶2つ持ってきて。
Momose's attitude changed completely. She called out to one of her employees and opened the bag to examine the goodies.
あら、栗羊羹、今が旬なのよね。わかってるじゃない。ばんちゃん、そんなところに突っ立ってないで座って。
Bon chuckled as he pulled a chair over from a nearby desk and sat next to Momose. A female secretary brought over 2 paper cups filled with hot tea.
で、なんか新ネタあるかい？
ちょっと待ちなさいって。
Momose carefully peeled the wrapper off one of the bars, folded it up, and set it off to the side of her computer. Then she popped open her mouth and tossed the first piece of chestnut yokan in it. Momose was a woman who loved Japanese confections. Whenever he wanted to know something, Bon had to bring her some kind of treat.
おいしいわ、これ。
人に言えた義理じゃないけどよ。ちったダイエットしたらどうだい？でないといつまで経っても結婚できないぜ。
本当に人に言えた義理じゃないわね。私はもうとっくに今期は逃したわよ。
Momose shrugged and took a sip of her tea, then turned to Bon.
また新しいニュージェネ事件起きたわね。こんなところでサボってていいの？
そっちの調査は俺以外の全員が真剣に取り組んでるさ。俺は別のアプローチから真実に迫ってやるってね。
かっこつけちゃって似合わないわよ。
Bon decided to avoid the tea until it cooled down. He couldn't handle anything, food or drink, that was too hot. The weather had turned cold, but he was still waving the fan at his face. It was a habit of his.
警察は G レートの線追ってるの？
そうそう、G レートね。ありゃすごいな。ももちゃんの話の通りだぜ。
So they're the ones that told him about the GE rate.
私が嘘の情報を渡すわけないでしょうに。これでおまんま食べてるんだから。それで？
まあ、勝手に調べてるよ。
勝手にって。ちょっとばんちゃん！
Momose's voice echoed throughout the room. She was always a very forceful woman, and a loud one at that. The employees at Frisia were used to it, and none of them even raised an eyebrow at the noise. Not a day went by when Momose wasn't yelling at somebody. Bon had known her for years too, and had been on the receiving end of her yelling dozens of times. Ironically, his reaction was to pick at his ears. Momose's tone quickly dropped. This wasn't something she wanted anyone to hear. But the smile on her face that had been there when she was eating the yokan a moment ago was now completely gone. It was replaced with a look of intense rage as she pointed her finger in his face.
個人で追うのは危険だって言ったじゃない。政治に宗教に企業、どれだけ根深く関与してると思ってるの？この間テレビで G レートの講義をやった太田教授がどうなったか、あんたもよく知ってるでしょ。
ああ、貼り付けで殺された被害者だろ。何度も聞いたよ。
Wait a sec. Are they saying the guy who who got murdered in the crucified killing was murdered because he said some shit about the GE rate on TV? Is that what they're suggesting here?
何度でも言ってやるわ。ええ、言ってやりますとも。あんたはいっつも私の忠告を無視するんだから。それでいつも尻拭いさせられるのは私なんてたまったもんじゃないわ。
まあまあ、そうかなるなって。茶でも飲んで落ち着いたら。
Momose's reaction was to go for a second piece of chestnut yokon, not the tea.
大丈夫だって。一応諏訪と一緒に動いてるんで。今はまだ G レートやら何やらってのは突飛すぎて上を説得できねえなよ。
諏訪ちゃんは確かに有能だししっかりしているけど、無理させたら承知しないわよ。
ももちゃんはいつから諏訪の保護者になったんだ？
あんちゃんの無謀な行動に未来ある若者が巻き込まれるのはかわいそうでしょうに。
You know, I got a bad feeling that Bon is gonna be the next guy that gets killed.
あ、そうか。
Bon shrugged. He tried taking a sip of the tea, but it was still too hot. He winced in pain.
しかし、バイオリズムが人を殺す凶器になるなんてこと、本当にあり得るのかね？
前に説明したでしょうに。
実はいまいち理解しきれてねえんだわ。それってももちゃんお得意の電磁波と関係してるのか
Momose sighed and drank her tea. Unlike Bon, it didn't seem to bother her.
満月の夜の事件簿はよく知ってるでしょ。
まあな。
There were a lot of accidents and crimes on the night of the full moon. This wasn't an urban legend. It was something you could see for yourself just by looking at Tokyo police statistics.
その満月以上の力でバイオリズムカーブが上昇したらどうなると思う？
興奮するってことだろ？
それだけ？渋谷は特殊な街なのよ。言ったでしょ。 GE レートが高ければバイオリズムカーブは上昇する。しかもその上昇値は満月の夜に影響する数値のおよそ6800倍。
なんとも想像しにくい数字だな。
比べ物にならないくらいすごいって考えとけばいいわ。
しかしなんで今なんだい？
殺された太田教授が言っていたのは GE レートが半年前から急に増加しているせいってことね。地層の構造に大きな変化が起きない限りそんなことはありえないそうだけど。
変化ね。
そう、駅前のスクランブル交差点で火山が噴火するほどのエネルギーが必要なの。
火山？そんなに大きな力なのか？
それくらい今の GE レートはありえない状況なのよ。
それを世間に訴えようとした教授はニュージェネで殺された。
事件の前日に教授が出演する予定だったテレビ番組が急遽放送中止になった話知ってる？
確かか。
知り合いに MHK に勤めている人がいて聞かされたの。
国営放送の番組に圧力かけられる立場なんてそうそうないぜ。
私も詳細についてはわからないわ。知ってたらとっくに告発してるだろうし。
Bond leaned forward, seemingly interested.
俺でも大体予想はつくさ。その際、はっきり言っちゃってよ。
本気で聞きたい？社会の安否に踏み込むことになるわよ。いいの？パンちゃん、クビになるかもしれない。
俺はニュージェネ事件の犯人さえ捕まえられりゃそれでいいんだけどね。ま、どうするかは答えを聞いてから考えるわ。
Momose sipped her tea, using her left hand to type into the laptop. A document appeared on the LCD monitor. It contained a list of information she'd researched on her own.
名和と
First, nation's dominant political party. General election 4 years ago.
ももちゃん、勘弁してくれ。俺はてっきり野党の名前が出てくると思ってたんだがな。よりによって。
Bond gave a soft, annoyed moan. But his eyes weren't laughing at all. They were filled with the sharp insight of a detective.
下手したら、この国が揺らぐぜ。
Damn, they just cut it off there? Shit, okay. Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Ugh. Damn. Hold on, let me double check. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I will. I'll stream again tomorrow night, and I will. I'm just gonna do the God of War Ragnarok again tomorrow. So, thanks for coming and watching, and have a good rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow.